All right, we're going to finish up our study guide. I believe we ended with number 6 in the last video, so we're going to start with number 7, which looks like this. 4 over 6r plus 3 over 4r. Now I want a common denominator here. These are not the same. So what's the denominator I can come up with that this can become and this can become? What's the least common multiple of 6 and 4? Let's see. I'm doing multiples of 4 and 6. How about 24? Oh, even better yet, how about 12? The least common multiple of 6 and 4 is 12. Now 6 can become 12 and 4 can become 12. What else do I need in this denominator to make it a common denominator? What else do each of these need? Well, they each need an r. So if I have one r here, I can easily make 6r become 12r by multiplying it by 2. Whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. And I can easily make 4r become 12r by multiplying it by 3. Whatever you do to the bottom, do to the top. So this is going to be 12r and this is going to be 12r. So 12r is my common denominator. So what's my new numerator here? Well, 2 times 4 is 8. And 3 times 3 is 9. So my answer is 8 plus 9 is 17 over 12r. Now these are both monomials. 17, the only way I can get 17 is 17 times 1. 12r I can break apart 3 times 4 times r. That doesn't help. I could break 4 apart some more and I could make it 2 times 2, but that doesn't help. I'm not going to have any common factors. So I'm going to multiply everything back together, and here is my answer. Let's look at number 8. 3 over x plus 1 minus 2 over 3x. Okay? So we need a common denominator, don't we? Gosh. I don't know how. I can't think of a common denominator for these two. So what I'm going to do is multiply these two factors together. So my common denominator is going to be this times this. So I'm going to have x plus 1 times 3x, and that's going to be my common denominator. All I did was multiply these together. Think about it. If I have 1/3 plus 1/2, I can always multiply these together to get a common denominator. It always works. It's not always the best one, but if it's the only thing I can think of to do, it works just fine. Well, for me, when I see something like this, the only thing I can think of to do is multiply these two things together to get this for my denominator. So how does this become this? Well, I multiply this, it's x plus 1, times 3x, and voila, I now have my common denominator. But if I multiply the denominator by 3x, I have to multiply the numerator. How does this become this? Well, I take my 3x and I multiply it by x plus 1, and voila, this denominator becomes this denominator. But if I multiply the denominator by x plus 1, I have to multiply the numerator by x plus 1. So my new numerator here is 9x. Okay, you're going to have to be really, 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 really careful here, because this says to subtract everything in my numerator. So I think what I'm going to do, okay, if I'm going to subtract everything, I want to do this. That tells me to subtract all of this. So I'm going to do my distributive property. I'm going to get 2x plus 2. And then if I'm going to subtract 2x plus 2, that means I have to distribute a -1 to every stinking term. So that's going to be negative 2x, and it's going to be negative 2. I'm going to do that one more time because that's confusing for a lot of people, I think. All right, I had 3x times 3 over 3x times x plus 1 in this fraction right here. And then I was going to subtract 2 times x plus 1 over 3x times x plus 1. We multiplied the bottom and the top here by 3x, and we multiplied the numerator and denominator here by x plus 1. And our challenge here is we have to subtract this whole thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to forget my subtraction for a second. I'm going to do my distributive property, and I'm going to get 2x plus 2. I just did my rainbow, but now I have to subtract all of that. The entire numerator has to be subtracted. So in order to subtract that, I'm just going to distribute a little -1 here. That's going to help me subtract this term, and it's going to help me subtract this term. So what I'm going to get is my 9x here, and then I'm going to get -1 times 2x is -2x, and -1 times 2 is -2, all over 3x times x plus 1. Now I'm going to simplify my numerator by combining like terms, and I'm going to get 7x minus 2 over 3x times x plus 1. Combine these and get 7x minus 2 over 3x times x plus 1. Now, this is a polynomial. I would factor that using my menu. There's no GCF. It's not a special case. I can't use X-man because X-man's for trinomials. So I can't factor my numerator anymore. My denominator, here's a GCF. There's no GCF in here. It's not a special case. It's not a trinomial. This is completely factored. None of my factors are exactly alike. So this is the answer right here. Let's try number 9. 2 over x minus 1 plus 2 over x plus 1. Okay, I don't have a common denominator, do I? And I don't know how I'm going to make this become this or this become this. So I'm just going to multiply these two denominators together, and that's going to be my common denominator. Now, how did this become this? Well, I multiplied it by x plus 1. So I'm going to do that here. And if I do it to the bottom, I have to do it to the top. How did this become this? Well, the only difference between this and this is that this is being multiplied by x minus 1. So that's what I'm going to do here. And I'm going to do the same thing to the numerator. This one's going to be a little bit simpler because we're adding instead of subtracting, so I don't have to worry about distributing a negative to everything here. So I'm going to get 2, do your distributive property, 2x plus 2, and then plus 2x minus 2. Now when I see all that, I'm going to combine like terms. So when I put my x's together, I get 4x. And when I put my positive 2 and my negative 2 together, they cancel out. Okay, this is a factor, this is a factor. This is a factor, but I could factor it and make it be 2 times 2 times x, but that's not going to cancel out with any of this. So this would be my answer right here. And number 10, 5 over x plus 2 minus, here's another subtraction. That means we have to be very careful. Okay, I see these two denominators. and I can't really figure out how to make this look like this or this look like this, so I'm going to just multiply them together. There's my new common denominator. How does this become this? We'll take my x plus 2 and multiply it by x minus 2. And if you do it to the bottom, you have to do it to the top. How does this become this? Well, I'm going to take my x minus 2 and I'm going to multiply it by x plus 2. And if I do it to the bottom, I have to do it to the top. This is tricky. Remember, we're subtracting. So we have 5x minus 10. And then we have to subtract all of this. So let's do this. Let's subtract all of this would be 3x